Good evening everyone, hope you're doing well. A little live with Gio. It's been a while, hasn't it? It was the festive period. I disappeared for a little bit. But I'm back in my setup and I thought, you know what? I might do a live with Gio. Well, Charlie said, do a live with Gio, will you? I'll make you a nice thumbnail. So he done. I've got the nice thumbnail. I've got a few topics because it's transfer window, isn't it? So the rumours keep coming. There's a few I'm not that bothered by. Jesse Lingard, for example. Joshua King. Don't really bother me, whatever. And there's some I've never heard of. Sima, for example. So if you're tuning in for sort of the in the know side, the scoop on the players we're being linked with, information on Dia, you're in the wrong place, my friend. I've never heard of them. But there's some I'm excited about. There's one or two I'm excited about anyway. So we'll start with Daka, the Salzburg striker. There's a lot of foreign sort of journalists, there's Austrian journalists suggesting that this rumour, there's something to it. The interest from West Ham in Daka is genuine, and that gets me a little excited because while I've not heard of Sima until about 4 weeks ago when Souček mentioned him, our favourite scout at the club these days, our favourite midfielder at the club these days, our budget scout, whatever you want to call him. He's told the club about him. Never heard of him. But Daka, I've heard of him. And now I'll confess why I've heard of him. I like a little bit. And occasionally I like to do like an anytime goal scorer treble or something. And he's one of Europe's sort of hot properties for scoring goals. He's got a ridiculous goal scoring record. If he's ever better than Evans to score for Salzburg, he's worth taking the price essentially. He's got about a 1-2 record for Salzburg. And also his shooting accuracy is somewhat ridiculous. More than 50% of his shots hit the target, and out of the ones that hit the target, half of them go in. So basically 1 in 4 shots are a goal. His conversion rate is something phenomenal, and I know he's got a better sort of goal scoring rate. He's got a better conversion rate than what Haaland had before he went to Dortmund. That's how good he's doing over in Austria at the minute. So I know a little bit about him. This is my opinion. Obviously, when I say I know a bit about him, I've seen Salzburg a few times over the last season or two, but when I watched him, I've noticed him because he's fast, he's quick, he can play wide, he can play through the middle. He's not the tallest, he's not small, he's just not, I think he's about 6 foot, he's an average height. I do think when I've seen him in the air, he's not that great. I thought he was sort of like, I didn't notice his headers, for example. That would be my concern given how we play, and when I say how we play, we get the ball at the back, we kick it long and expect the striker to head the ball. That would be my concern. But his movement in the box, I think, is fantastic. He can score with both feet as well. I think he's not that far off having the same amount of his goals with his left foot as he does with his right foot, which is just ridiculous when you think about it, really. But I noticed earlier on the old Twitter, it might have been StatsBomb website or something like that. I like StatsBomb. Who scored? One of them, probably. My two favourite sites for the numbers behind the game. They were suggesting, they were telling me, it's stats. It's real. It's fact. He's scored he's got more goals than his expected goals. So those that don't like the numbers, I know, but I like it. I use it as an indicator. I always use stats as indicators. So for expected goals, he's doing better. He's surpassing what he's expecting to do. So I'm extremely excited about Daka, actually. I hope this links are true. Salzburg, while they get decent fees for their players, it's always round about the 20 million mark. They don't sell players for 50 million of that. We're not going to have to buy a Sebastian Haller type price here. We are dealing with someone that's going to be a decent fee, 20 million, worth a gamble. He's recently spoken about coming to the Premier League. He wants to follow in the footsteps of Aubameyang and Mane and Salah and stuff like that. This is the type of player I think you get 1 or 2 chances to go get him. You wait till the summer and he continues his form, we're probably not going to get him. He's probably going to go to a bigger club. So I would like to see us move for him. We're being linked with Dia as well. Scored 2 yesterday to take him to the leading goal scorer in Liga 1. As I've said many times, the French league is my weakness. You'd probably thought, well, why have you not started watching more French football? I don't have time, and to be honest with you, whenever I put it on, even the big games like Lyon, PSG, I put it on, I'm just not that interested in it. I switch off. I find myself doing something else, getting easily distracted. So the French league and me are just not compatible, unfortunately. So I don't know anything about Dia. Sima, know nothing about. The young Prague striker, Hozlak, I know nothing about him. I know he's highly rated and stuff, but again, I hadn't heard about him until a week ago. I think I need to start playing Football Manager. Football Manager, it tends to be quite reliable. I've not played that or FIFA for a while, so I'm a bit behind on the the old what's it, if you like. But the one player we've been linked with, which concerns me, is Pella. Remember the old Southampton striker? When I say old Southampton striker, I mean old. He is old. He's 35 or 36. He's a free agent because he left the Chinese club. He's been linked with us, and there's quotes. I don't know who the quotes are, but the quotes are very much... he's considering an offer from West Ham. I was like, oh, please no. I mean, when I loved him at Southampton. I thought he was a fantastic striker for the Saints, but let's leave it there, well, please. So I'm hoping that one doesn't come out. Now, got a couple of other topics, but I'm going to jump into the live chat now. It's an interactive watch along, so if you're watching and you want us to comment or anything or chuck it up, please do. So thank you to everybody who's joined me in the live chat. There's quite a few people. Charlie's in there making sure everybody's behaving, so anyone misbehaving, smack bum out. We've not had any of that for a while, so that's good. Dave157. I don't know why he's got 157. I'm assuming Dave 1 to Dave 156 has been taken prior, so he's the 157th Dave on YouTube, perhaps, which is quite impressive, really. So Dave 157 says, Gio, have you heard any talk of Holland going back out on loan? I believe he's going out on loan next week. I think he's sticking around in case he is required in the squad tomorrow night, and then after tomorrow night, I think he's off on loan to... No, it's a lower league team. It might come to me. Someone might put in a live chat. I cannot remember it. It's frustrating me now. It's a lower league English side though. So I think he's heading out on loan after Monday night, just in case we need him. That's all. So thank you to everybody who's joined us. Good to see Chaza and Adam Bowning from the Gamblers Anonymous group chat up the GA. They're shouting out quite. One of my favourite group chats. Possibly the favourite group chat. Reece Lamin saying Allaire played really well for Ajax today and got an assist against PSV. Looks like it's going to be a good move. I've seen that. I've seen you got an assist and a goal which ruled out for offside and stuff. I'm going to stay away from the Sebastian Allaire thing. It's getting a bit touchy, isn't it? The Sebastian Allaire thing's... it's getting a bit angry on social media. I had to say something earlier because I noticed a lot of people dismissing Allaire's goals against Charlton and Hull in the League Cup, and then sort of praising King for scoring against Oldham in the Cup. And I thought, okay, that doesn't really work. Then they're sort of dismissing his game today against PSV because it's in a Farmers League, which it's not. The Dutch League's, one of the best leagues in European football, but even if it was, it's against PSV, who would probably finish in the top 6 of the Premier League, but it was against them. But then they're also getting excited about us signing the likes of Daka from the Austrian Bundesliga. I just found everything's a bit contradictory. And Sebastian Allaire is a very angry topic on social media. Daniel's confirmed. Thank you, Daniel. Hull or Oxford. That Nathan Holland will be going on loan to after Monday evening. Ross Nielsen, would you want Felipe Anderson back? I would, but I'll tell you why, Ross, so I can flog him immediately. I've seen he's been linked to AC Milan now. That's the next club to be linked with him. Lazio put up a video of Anderson yesterday, which was a bit random. And at Everton, Bernard might be on his way to Roma, and if that happens, Carlo Ancelotti is apparently looking at the Felipe Anderson situation with regards to taking him to Goodison Park. I think he would fit Carlo Ancelotti, by the way. Actually, I think he'd do well under him. But if it goes there, I would like it to be a loan move to get his value back up, because I think it would work. However, I think I would take him back and sell him because he might not be worth much. What's Anderson's transfer market value? Let's do that actually in a live chat. Put up what you think Felipe Anderson is worth today. If you sold Felipe Anderson today, what would you think we would get? And I'll have a little look in a second. There's a delay between me and you, about 30 seconds. I'll have a look. I would value him at 10 to 15 million. It's a massive hit, but it's 10 to 15 million pounds for a player that David Moyes does not have in the squad this season. We're doing well this season. We're doing well. So to get 15 million for someone that's not part of it, it's that old saying, can't miss what you don't have. We don't have him, so we can't miss him. I would get the money in the kitty and add it to the funds we've got left over from Allaire, once we've paid off Frankfurt and stuff, to see how much we've got. And then I think that would give us a decent spend, really, because there's an opportunity now, because all the clubs are feeling the pinch at the minute, and there's not many clubs selling players for big money. So we've done that. We've now sold a player for big money. This gives West Ham an advantage. We now have an advantage over Southampton, Everton, anyone else that on our level in the Premier League who perhaps don't have loads of money to spend. We have an advantage, and I would like to see us seize the moment. Carpe diem. Right, the live chats, everyone's putting the values up. Let's just read out 5 or 6. Noah says 10 million. Jeffrey says 12. Maverick 18. Andy 14. Garino looks like the biggest one so far at 20 million. Talent is still there. Oh no, Vinny says 25 million. It's in the teens. It's in the teens, which is Adam Johnson's favourite age of girlfriend. And the stream's probably going to get taken down. But 10, 15 million is what I would value him at. If we got 15 million, I think I would take it, to be honest with you. Lord and Salmon, £2 and a curly whirly. We love a curly whirly. When it comes to monetary terms on Hammers Chat, it used to be Hugos, didn't it? 1.5 Hugos for Harry Parker remembers. He's done it. 2 Hugos. We used to use Hugos as a monetary value on this channel, so it was 10 million, it was a Hugo. So Harry Parker says 2 Hugos, so I would say 1.5 Hugos, I think. But yeah, Guy Smither says he's not convinced by that advantage, or our owners would negate any advantage. I agree with that. I don't have confidence in them doing it and taking advantage, but I do believe we've got one now. I believe we've got one. In the summer, we were at the back of the queue. We were trying to sell players and we couldn't. We sold Dean Ghana, but by the time we got the money in, Eze had already gone to Crystal Palace. David Moyes missed out on the player he wanted because we had to wait. Our pockets were out. We had no coins in there. Now we've got decent wedge. We've got some Wonga. So let manager go spending, get his number 1 player in. Gravy Dave, he obviously couldn't get Dave number 1 either. Gravy Dave says he wants Morelos from Rangers to replace Sebastian Aller. Do you know something? I think that would be a really good signing, to be honest with you. He's not as bad as he used to be in terms of his temperament. He used to be a bit of a nutter. He still has a little bit of a nutter in him. But I don't mind that in players. I said this about Richarlison when we went to play Everton a couple of weeks ago. You know, I don't mind players that are a bit angry, that have got a little bit of something about them. Because I always find that those ones are the ones that don't really drop their heads in games. They keep on going. They're big characters. And I think you take that aggression away from them, you can sometimes hinder them as a player. And Morelos doesn't need the aggression removed. He needs to be tamed. And I think Steven Gerrard's doing a fantastic job of that right now. Rangers are flying up here. Another win today against Aberdeen, unfortunately. You know, they're just making a mockery of Celtic. Steven Gerrard's, you know, once he's won this title, that's it. He's lined up for a decent job in England, I think. But I would take Morelos at West Ham if I could. Darren Jenkins, Gio, would you take an FA Cup win with a great day out but get relegated? If the answer is yes, would you still take that this season where you can't go? Do you know something? That's a really good question, because in normal circumstances, I think you're right. I think I'd probably say yes, because the FA Cup's my dream. I don't mind playing in the Championship that much. As a fan, as someone that's looking at things logically, I've got to sit here and say getting relegated would be awful, it would be bad, it would be a disaster for the club, and I believe all those things. It would be a huge failure, of course it would. But if we won the FA Cup, it would give me a memory. I would remember winning the FA Cup until I die, whereas finishing 16th in the Premier League, I forgot about it in 2 years' time, haven't I? But if we never got to experience it, I think you're right, actually. I think that would possibly change my answer to a no, because part of the reason I would say yes is because you get to go there, isn't it? You get to live. It's a whole day thing. You get to experience everything. So I probably wouldn't take that, actually. That's a good question, though. I like that question. That's a good one. Someone said, Nuclear Kez, Pella from Southampton. Yeah, I don't like him. Mr. Jordan, Patrick Van Aanholt to West Ham, any news? I had not heard that one, to be honest with you, Jordan. That's the first I've heard of it. I don't know if we'll get a left back. I know Moyes has hinted that he wants one, but I don't think we've got enough money. I think I don't think a left back will be his priority, because we've still got Ryan Fredericks. Ben Johnson, I think, is our second choice left back at the minute. I think he's looking at it that we've got Creswell, Johnson, Masuaku. He's still a couple of months away, I think. Masuaku's still got a while to come back, but he's still on the books. We've still got to pay his wages. Then on the right side, that leaves Soufal and Fredericks. I think we're looking at this thinking we're all right in the full-back department until the summer. So I don't see us going for a left-back. I think a centre midfielder and at least one striker. That would be the two players. Ross Nielsen's asking about the game tomorrow night. He's worried about injuries of the first team start. We've done a preview. I know I don't like self-promotion too much, like about other videos on the channel. I just assume you've seen them all, or you can see they're all there. But I would go watch that. But long story short, Ross, myself and Gonzo want to see as many first team players starting as possible. Right, I'm going to come back to live chat in a second, but we've got Jordan Hugo up next. He's not coming on the show, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. Sorry to Charlie as well. Jordan Hugo's not coming on. I tried. I didn't really. I'll tell you a story, actually. When he played for someone on loan, did he go to Borough on loan in his first year here? I think he went to Borough. I'm pretty confident. Anyway, the club put up, like, do you know when the player scores, it comes up the player's GIF on social media, and sometimes it has like sponsored by next to him and it's flashing, and it's sponsored by Derek the plumber around the corner kind of thing. And Hugo never had one. Hugo's come up and actually had a white box that says sponsor me. Now when I seen that, I seen an opportunity, so I contacted Borough and I said, can I sponsor, how much is it to sponsor Jordan Hugo for a game? They said, no, you can't do it for one game. I said, no, I just want to do it for one game. They said, no, you can do it for the season. You get a shirt and you get this and you get that and you get this. I said, no. I said, to be honest with you, to be perfectly honest with you, mate, there's a bit of a joke with Jordan Hugo at West Ham. It's a running thing on Hammers Chat. Just for one game, I'd like to pay to have Hammers Chat on that thing, just in case he scores. But I think when they announce the lineup and stuff, they do individual gifts for them. I said, I just want that. And they said, no, you can't have it for one game. So that died on its arse. I think I was willing to spend about a good, I don't know how much. I was just intrigued to see what the number was, so I could say to Gonzo, please, can we spend our very limited budget on this to make Charlie happy? Massive thank you to Derek from Newcastle, who's put in £2.50 in the super chat and not left a comment. That £2.50 goes into the biscuit fund. And Derek Newcastle is... I take it Derek number 1 was also taken as well. Mr. Jordan Stephen Henderson said, any news on Diego Costa? Well, he's not coming. I think Costa's got a new club now. I think Dembele's also got one as well. Dembele's away to Atletico Madrid. That got done quick. He's going to replace Diego Costa. Nuclear Kez, thoughts on Jared Bowen? He's been a bit tired recently, hasn't he? But I'd pull him tomorrow. I'd like to see him get on the score sheet. If there's someone I could pick to score, assuming Meepo doesn't start, it would probably be Jared Bowen. I think he needs one. I think he needs a goal. Joe, do you think Odebeko will have a run tomorrow night? No. But I think there's a small chance he'll be in the squad. He's been training with the first team for the last week, which would suggest that he might be involved. Alves, the centre-back as well, that we signed in the first week of the window, that was being done for quite a while. He's been training with the first team and given the number 14 shirt as well, so I wouldn't be surprised to see either or possibly even both of them on the bench. I would love to see Meepo start. When we did the preview, I spoke about the goal again, because there's one goal in particular I just keep watching it. I think it's the sound. There's a satisfying, do you know, some things in life, there's a few things that give you like a satisfying sound. The sound of a fire cackling, for example, that noise, you love that. The sound of the football being hit and then hitting the back of the net is one of those noises. It gives me do you know that? You know what I mean? When it hits the net, you get that noise, and it's got that in it. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, once you've watched this video, don't go anywhere yet, please stay with me. YouTube Google, as I call it, Odebeko goal Southend, and watch it. It's about 10 seconds into the highlights. It's from the EFL, it's official footage. He scores from about 35 yards out, and the goal's just ridiculous. He just passes it with power into the bottom corner. The keeper's made a really good dive. He just can't get anywhere near it. Gary Page, what makes me think we will spend any money? Because we've got money. I think usually... it's as simple as that, really. We've just brought money in. I think there's a pressure there. You know, David Moyes has done his press conference and basically said, we're going to have to play with a false 9. We're going to have to consider playing with a false 9. You can tell he's been watching Man City while he's been at home, can't you? Because City's been running around with Kevin De Bruyne playing in the false 9 the last couple of weeks and getting good results. He's now decided that he's going to chuck in his own version of it, basically, because we've got no strikers. I think we will spend money, Guy. I'm not saying we'll spend a lot of money. I would like to think 20 million. I would like to see us spend that at the most. Here we go. We've got someone that is a Slavia Prague fan. I don't know how you say that name. Kovo the Bloodless. It's a bit of a brutal name, mate, to be honest with you. But Anyway, he says he's a Slavia Prague fan. He doesn't think Sima's the right player for us. He isn't a traditional striker and he's still very young. Not sure West Ham want to take the gamble. I think he's right. I'd be surprised if Sima come, actually. I don't see the interest. Are we looking at him? I think so. But I don't think we'll make a move. I think the Daka one has got something to it. I don't know why. I just got a little good feeling about this Daka one. When David Moyes said he wants the Red Bull model, I didn't know he literally meant to go and buy someone from the Red Bull team. But I'm not complaining if it works out. So Jeffrey says, am I experimenting with ASMR? No, I'll tell you what. I didn't really know what ASMR was. I knew of it. I didn't really know much of it until someone explained it to me a month ago or something. And it's not really my kind of thing, to be honest with you. I find it more... I understand why people like it. I know people that do get great satisfaction and find it very relaxing. But to me, it's sort of like, what do I do now kind of thing. Not for me. I'd rather just keep watching that Southend goal. That's maybe my version of ASMR, just listening to the ball ripple the net continuously. Luka Jovic, yeah, I've seen that, Daz. I've seen us being linked with him again. But it can't happen. It won't happen, but it can. We've gone from Sebastian Haller, who struggled to play up front on his own. We can't then look at his other teammate who played in the same front three as him. He's now gone to Real Madrid and struggled to play up front on his own. We can't go get him. I would have liked to have seen Jovic come in to play alongside him, but not on his own instead of him. So I don't think that would... I wouldn't like to see us get Jovic, actually. I think Jovic is a top player. If you remember the videos we've done a couple of years ago before we signed Haller, Jovic and Piatek were the two players I would have liked to have seen us gone after. This was prior to his move to AC Milan, but not anymore, because I just think he's not the right one for us, really. So it's a shame, really, because he's a top player. GWH UFC said he'd play Ben Rama up top with Bowen and Fornals. You know something? I don't think you're that far away. I think tomorrow night we're not going to play with a striker. Might be Yarmolenko. Jazza, say tomorrow isn't going to plan. What would our plan B be? In regards to what? During the game? Throw on as many first team players as you can and try not to get embarrassed, really, because if it's not going to plan, we are getting embarrassed. Conor Andrew, would you like to see Fornals play next to Souček in the future when Rice inevitably leaves? I would like to see Fornals play in that role, Conor. I've always been an advocate. I've never understood why we don't play more creative players in centre midfielder. Now, this is probably why I'm sitting on YouTube and doing nothing in football compared to those in football. But it doesn't really matter, does it? I always hate the fact that our creativity starts with like the attacking midfielder, and behind that it's all defensive-minded players. And it frustrates the life out of me, because when you watch Newcastle, when John Shelby's in and out the team, whenever I watch him, he's pulling the strings from deep, and I admire the way he does it. He just controls the tempo, controls the game, and it's my own little phrase, I've come with my own little phrase here, create for the creative players, and that's what Shelby does. He creates for St. Maximin or whatever, and says, right, now you go and create for Almiron or Wilson or so on and so forth. And when it comes to West Ham, I find this very passive in midfield. Souček's, I've seen his, going back to stats, I'm sorry, but I do like my stats, but I noticed Souček's passes, one of these websites that I like the look of, sort of have a look at which player passes to where the most. Who does Souček pass to the most? And most of his passes went to Declan Rice, and quite a lot of them were to Soufal. And then I think Bowen was quite popular, but also one of his most popular passes was Ogbonna, Balbuena, and Fabianski passed to Fabianski more than he did Fornals. And I thought, that's not right. Your centre midfielder's got to be going forward a bit. And I would like to see Lanzini and Fornals used in that role. If sometimes I think I'd swap them. I'd put Souček in the attacking midfielder role so we can use his physique a bit more and get someone in there that can use the ball, get the ball in deck, start moving it around. I just think that Lanzini and Fornals are probably the only two players I would try in that role, to be clear. I wouldn't be trying Ben Rama or anything silly in there, but those two I think can be quite disciplined. They let the ball do the work. Ben Rama likes to dribble with it, Bowen likes to dribble with it, whereas I think Lanzini and Fornals get the ball, get their head up, and they like to try and play the ball. And I don't know, I just like it. I would like to see us try someone in there that passes it around a bit more. What when is it time to pull the trigger on a keeper, and who do you have in mind? First of all, I wouldn't shoot him. I think he's getting on a bit, but I don't think he needs put down just yet. This summer, to be honest with you, I would have liked to have seen Fabianski replaced. However, since the last, 5, 6, 7 games, I think Fabianski's been back to his best, to be honest with you. I think he wasn't that good at the start of the season. I don't know why. He wasn't bad. He just didn't really fill me with much confidence. But I think he's been back to his best over the last few games, and I don't think he's got his new deal yet, but I assume that's in the pipeline because he can now negotiate with European clubs for free, which is worrying really. But who would I like? I'll tell you who's really impressed me this season. Sam Johnson of West Brom. Whenever I've watched West Brom, he's impressed me, and he's got a lot to do in that goal, whether it was under Slav or Sam Allardyce. He's busy, he's got a lot of shots to deal with, and I think he tends to deal with them quite well actually. He's very, very good at his crossing. I think his distribution's quite good, his shot saving's good. I hate shot saving, I hate it. It's one of my pet hates. No, we all have pet hates about football. One of my pet hates about football is when someone describes a goalkeeper as a good shot stopper, and I think, but what keeper isn't a good shot stopper? That's like saying a journalist is good at writing. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the minimum. A keeper, sure, shot stopping. Surely every keeper is good at shot stopping. That's like saying, well, that defender there, he's not that bad at heading the ball occasionally. Well, you think? But anyway, Sam Johnson would be my answer because I didn't really have one until now. But I've watched a lot of the Premier League, and that's the one it is. Ruben, Ben Rama has the shirt number 9. Well, Moyes knows he's going to turn him into a striker. Conspiracy. I think it is a conspiracy, Ruben. It'd be nice to see Moyes turn him into a starter, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts up front though tomorrow night. Saeed Ben Rama. I would not be surprised if the lineup comes out and Saeed Ben Rama is a false 9 tomorrow night for West Ham. Apache says we have this young lad that is great at passing to the creative players. His name is Martin Noble. He used to be fair. I used to think Martin Noble's passing was underrated. He used to love one of those volleys, didn't he? The ball would be bouncing, he would just out to a winger, but not quite so. Here we go, Charlie. This must be Charlie's pet hate, but Charlie also knows that this is another one of my pet hates. This might offend people, because some people do this on here in the comments and stuff, and I ignore it. But do I find good shot stopper more annoying than someone calling it the Premiership? I don't know. It does annoy me when people call it the Premiership. It's been the Premier League for how many years now? So when people say, oh, Premiership, I'm like, what league are you referring to? Can you be specific? Are you referring to the Scottish Premiership? No, you're referring to the English Premier League. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know. It just annoys me for some reason that people call it the Premiership. It's been the Premier League a while now. But right. Station says his pet hates his dog that keeps getting him up at 3 a.m. Get your wife under control, I guess. Adam McKinley said, any chance Moyes converts Anderson into centre forward? No. There's no way Felipe Anderson can play striker for us. He's just not got a physique. I know he did it with Antonio and Nanatovic, but they're both big boys, aren't they? They're both big, strong. I was going to say pacey. Anderson is pacey. Anderson's got that pace. But I don't know. I just don't see Anderson playing for West Ham again. I'll be surprised if Felipe Anderson plays for West Ham United again. I don't know why. David Moyes is a very stubborn manager, and he almost has to be forced to give someone an opportunity that he perhaps doesn't want to give an opportunity to. And if he is forced into it, he's willing to change his mind. He'll say, all right, okay, I've maybe got this wrong. There's been a few players he sort of looked like he made his mind up on, but then went back and changed his mind. Pablo Fornals, when Moyes came in, he took Fornals out of the team, then he sort of put him in reluctantly, and then was impressed by what he saw, so he's left him in. Ben Rama, he doesn't like Ben Rama there, so he's sort of like, no, I'll just not put Saeed in. And then he has put him in, and he's sort of like, still not sure, back out. I think Felipe Anderson, I think he's made his mind up on Anderson. He doesn't like him, so I'd be surprised if he's back in. Harry Parker said he wants Adam Armstrong and Morales in to get rid of Yarmolenko and Fredericks, especially Ryan Fredericks. I seen he was linked away for... At the start of the window, he's linked with a move away, but he's not really been rumoured since. I wouldn't bother selling Fredericks, to be honest with you, because I think he's alright. I've not been his biggest fan, but I think he's done okay this season. But he's just not worth the money anymore. What's he probably worth? 3, 4, 5 million? It's just not worth selling him. We won't be able to replace him for that little money, so I wouldn't bother. I would just keep him. Danny Partridge, I don't know if Danny's... Adam Partridge, I don't know if he's trying to wind me up or not. He says, would I like Danny Ings at West Ham? I don't know. Hang on a minute. Who's this guy? Who's this guy? He better not be replying to Adam. Smee Goal said, are you mad? We don't need any more injury prone players. That better be about another player. That's about Danny Ings. I'm going to start a fight here. I will somehow come into the computer and start fighting. Charlie's in there. Charlie can deal with him. I want Smeagol to just clarify which player he's saying we do not need at West Ham United. Andrew Fielding, have we signed the Danish left back yet? Who is the Danish left back? I don't know. I do not know who you're referring to be honest with you. But if you mean the centre back, yeah, Alves, he's in the squad. He's number 14. He's in training. He's alright. But I don't know which rumour you're referring to there, if there is someone else there. Paul Spencer saying Ings is injury prone. Paul, I'm not letting you answer on behalf of Smee. Let Smee own up. Yeah, see, Daniel's saying it's about Sturridge. I seen someone say Daniel Sturridge earlier. Where is Daniel Sturridge? Is he not in Turkey? I think he was in Turkey. But I don't know, I could be wrong, because he got a ban. What did he get banned for? I'm sure he got a ban. Was it not gambling or something? I don't know. Conor Andrews said he saw Odebeko's goal against Southend when I mentioned it, and it's a very strange goal. Well, thank you for going and checking out, Conor. I'm glad one or two people bothered, and I'm glad you agree. It is a strange goal. It's a very unique technique. Jeffy says, Gio not West Ham, but do you think Billy Gilmour will ever captain Scotland? He said in an interview it's his goal. Don't know. I think he'll certainly make lots of first team appearances for us. I'm looking forward to it. He looks like he's got the talent in there. I'm quite excited to see him playing more and more for Scotland. Will he become captain? Don't know. It depends who he's up against for his age. You know, John McGinn's sort of our him and Andy Robertson's our captain at the minute. John McGinn's our vice captain. Neither of them are old, so I think he might have to wait a little while. But I do think there's an opportunity there for him if he can get into the team and stay in the team. First and foremost, he needs to get into the squad, probably for the Euros, really. Guy Smithhurst, Lewis Ferguson, Aberdeen, worth a punt. I think so. I think he's good. I think he's a really good player. I think he could perhaps... he's possibly worth a gamble. He needs to get his discipline in check. I think he needs to... He's a bit too footloose, if you like. Not quite Morelos, but he does pick up far too many cards and stuff. But I do think he'd be worth a gamble, actually, Lewis Ferguson. I wouldn't mind seeing him at West Ham. Who would you Elan, who would you like to see us sign in midfield? We are desperate, one injury away from disaster. I agree with that, by the way. I do agree that we are one injury away from disaster in centre midfield. I think if Vice Socek gets injured, we are snookered. It's pretty bad when we're away to play Stockport tomorrow night, and I mean this with the absolute greatest of respect to Stockport. But we can't even rotate both Rice and Socek. We just can't rest them both. You can maybe play Noble and Fornals, blah, 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 but I'll tell you something. Even when I see Noble and Fornals in there in some people's lineups, I think that's not good enough. That's not... Nah, you need Socek or Rice in there. And it just makes me a little bit concerned that we're away to play someone in the fifth tier of English football and we don't have confidence in our squad in order to rest our two centre midfielders. So I do think... I've seen this. Sarr. Andy Smith mentioned him. Someone else has mentioned him as well. Sarr from Watford. I'll tell you what, I'm not a big fan of him. I'm really, really not. I know there's a lot of hype about him when he arrived. He's very fast. but he just kicks it into the box. His crossing is largely based on a law of averages. Now, the law of averages is okay if you're on Tinder or something. You're okay to play the law of averages game. But when you're a professional footballer crossing it for a striker, it's the last thing to be relying on. But whenever I watched him for Watford, he runs past players, then just kicks it into the box, and half the time there's no one even in the box. He's too quick. He's got Troy Deeney 20 yards, huffing and puffing to try and keep up with him, but he can't. But he just crossed it anyway, which would insinuate he's not even looking. He's just booting it in. Nah, I don't want Saar. I've seen the rumour 25 million. It's all a load of rubbish. I don't think he's good enough for West Ham. I don't think he's consistent enough. He's a winger as well. We don't need one of those. I think he's far too expensive. I've dismissed the rumour, and I hope it's not. I hope it's not true. You know, I get a bit of stick on this for. I get a bit of stick on this channel for not rating Adama Traore. I'm not Adama Traore's biggest fan. And when we played Wolves and I said that, he come on and changed the game. And I don't mind admitting he done well that game. But I think he's now gone, Traore, he's now gone 20 Premier League games without a goal or an assist. Now I'm aware he's just gone and scored in the FA Cup. I'm aware of that. But he went 20 games as a winger without a goal and an assist. That's not good enough. So, Vernon said he keeps banging on about Keenan Apaya Forson and the under 23s would be a banging replacement for Declan Rice in the Stockport game. I'll be honest with you, Vernon, don't know. Do not know who he is. I don't know enough about him. Ryan says ham or cheese. Very much. See, Ryan, I've got a confession here. I get a row for asking questions about questions. Sometimes someone will ask me a question and I will reply with a question. And it irritates a few people. So if someone says, what's your favourite colour? I will say, in what context? Is it my favourite colour of t-shirt? Is it my favourite colour of furniture? Because they're all different answers. I don't have a colour. So when you say ham or cheese, I'm afraid, in what context? Is it in a sandwich? Then I'd probably say ham. But if it's sprinkled on top of a burger, I would say cheese. So it depends on what you're asking. I need some context, please. Major, would you rather Rice score the winning goal in the FA Cup final and winning the penalty for England in Euros, or miss a decisive penalty in the FA Cup and England get beat by Scotland? I think it's time to end the stream. I don't know. I'm a fan of. I love Scotland. I'm patriotic. When Scotland play, I watch Scotland. I support Scotland. I expect nothing from Scotland. I expect nothing from West Ham. We're very similar. I've always picked country over club. If it come to World Cup or Premier League, I'd pick the World Cup. But you're talking about the Euros and FA Cup, and I would pick the FA Cup over the Premier League, by the way. I know it's not a popular thing, and I know for the club it's better to win the Premier League, but I don't work for the club. I'm not the chairman. I'm a fan. I want to win the FA Cup. So if you're making me pick between the FA Cup and Scotland winning the Euros, I don't know. I really don't know. I think I'll pick the FA Cup, but I would pick the Euros over the Premier League. I don't know why. It's just my feelings, just my vibes I'm getting. Yeah, so I'll go with that one. Apache says, Ravel Charlie. My favourite colour shirt is Fred Perry. He's not wrong. You're not wrong, Charlie. If a sauce can be called brown sauce, why can a colour shirt not be a Fred Perry? Apache says Ravel Morrison's just become a free agent and having his contract terminated at Den Haag. Odds of him being a Sullivan special. I hope not. He's the last player I would like to see us sign, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people look at him with claret and blue specs on. I'm starting to think of Stevie Wonder glasses, because that guy was. Listen, he's a fantastic player. He's got loads of ability, but he's not making it as a proper professional footballer. He's made it as a professional footballer, but he's such a waste of talent, and it's so frustrating. It's sad, actually. It's a bit of a shame that he's not had better guidance and more education and better discipline from the start. And I know he's had stuff going on in his private life that we don't all know about. I know there's a lot of unknowns. I think if he wrote an autobiography, though, I'll be the first person to go buy it. I'll tell you that for free. So, Ravel, no for me. Anyway, listen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Charlie Walsh, I'm going to start wrapping this up. I only wanted to do half an hour, but it's been 14 minutes. I just want to say a massive thank you to all who joined me in the live chat, for keeping me going, because all I had was about 4 lines of stuff, and you kept me going with questions, comments, and stuff, so on and so forth, and it makes me really happy, so thank you very much. I'll try and do this possibly maybe not next week because we've got the preview on Sunday. I'll do another one very soon. Charlie will get on my case if I don't. But if you've enjoyed this live video, please drop a like on it. It makes me feel good, makes me happier, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Massive thank you to everybody who's new. We've had quite a few subscribers in the last couple of weeks. We hit 15,000 on New Year's Eve, and a quarter of the way again to get to 16,000, so thank you very much. Anyway, I'm going to disappear. Look after yourselves, be good, and I'll see you tomorrow night at 6:55 when we go live with our build-up for the Stockport game, where the FA Cup draw for the 4th round and the 5th round takes place. So we'll be doing it live. We'll have it live on the telly, so we'll tell you who West Ham get and react to it, and so on and so forth. And fingers crossed we get a decent squad. Take care. See you in a bit.